it works a little different when you got favor. You know what I'm saying? Like when you got that favor sauce, things happen a little different. Things may be rougher, but things happen a little different. At one point, you might have shared that dream, that goal, that passion, that aspiration with someone, and they might have started to doubt you, or they might have started to question you. They might have started to wonder if you're actually going to start that farm business that turns into $100 million business. They might have questioned if you're actually going to start that speaking engagement that's going to turn into you getting a $10,000 check every time you open your voice. You may have shared a goal, and somebody may have doubted you, but they don't have the same vision as you because they don't have the same lived experience as you, and they might not have the same connection to God as you. And that...
It's Mac 3, I'm on a mission to 1 million. Got some things to achieve, some things I'm building. Generational wealth for my children. It's more than money though. I'm talking mindset, I'm talking fitness, I'm talking getting out the projects. But it's a process for us to progress. That's why we stay stressed, but we gon' make it though. I'm laying out the map, I hope you read it though. I'm trying to get some facts so we can all know how to make our minds grow. Not only that, our pockets and our muscles too. So the system won't have a hold. It won't be easy though. Every day gon' be a struggle, but that don't stop the hustle. On a mission to 1 million. Let's go.
Good morning, millionaires. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's been a minute, but how you feeling? How you doing? You know me, I'm Mac 3. I'm feeling great, grand, and groovy. And I'm coming to you live from Miami. I'm very excited. It's been a wonderful day yesterday. Well, today's about to be another wonderful day. Well, let me explain. So I'm at the podcast summit. It's basically a group of a bunch of black creatives, not just black, but it's mainly black people here. But it's a lot of podcast creatives or future podcasters who are learning from, what is the name of that I want to say this? Well, never mind. But the podcast is being put on by Social Proof. It's a podcast that is run by David Shands and Donnie Wiggins. It has been very eventful, very insightful. I've been to a lot of conferences, and this one, it's been dropping a lot of gems, and I'll share it with you guys. I even upgraded to an all-star pass. Like, I was at a dinner last night, got to chop it up with David. I chopped it up with Donnie. I got to chop it up with Justin Phillips. I've been talking to a lot of people, and it's been really cool, really cool. But actually, I didn't even explain myself. You might explain who I am, excuse me. My name is Mac 3. I am on a mission to $1 million mind, body, and bank account. And on that mission to 1 million, I want to provide perspectives, knowledge, and resources to other millionaires on their mission to their million. And I'm calling you guys millionaires because I'm a firm believer in speaking things into existence. So first you have to speak it, and after you speak it, you'll start to believe it. After you start to believe it, you do the actions to become it, and that it is a millionaire. And the millions that you're chasing, it doesn't have to be monetary. It could be anything you're chasing that seems unobtainable, anything you're chasing that seems out of reach, anything you're chasing that at one point you might have shared that dream, that goal, that passion, that aspiration, and someone close to you might have started to doubt you. Someone close to you might have started to actually question if you're going to acquire what you know you're going to acquire. They started to question what you know that God said that you were created for. You know that you were created to be a podcaster. You know that you were created to be a sports broadcaster. You know that you were created to be someone who bridges the gap between real estate agents and people who are selling their houses. You know exactly who you were made to be. Actually, you might not know yet, but if you don't know, you need to take that time and really figure yourself out. But the main thing is, if you are chasing something that seems unobtainable, if you are in the pursuit of something that you don't have now, I think that you're a millionaire. And I just want to remind you of that. And I want to remind you that you can get there. You can accomplish the things that you're trying to reach. You just may need some guidance. You may need some perspective. You may need some encouragement. And that is what the Mission to 1 Million Network does. We are a podcast network that essentially we just want to help you identify, set, and acquire your goals. We're going to do that through various different shows, segments. And this show right here is called Mornings with Mac. It's a small version of the Mission to 1 Million podcast. And basically, I pick a couple topics. I share gems, jewels, knowledge, perspectives, and I give some insight that sometimes I'm really talking to myself. But I give insight, especially particularly to where I am in my life, And this information was solely shared to help you become a better you, to help you become a better version of yourself, to help you progress, because that's all I want to do. I want to get myself better, and then I want to help the people around me get better, and then I want to help the world get better. And that's the reason why this Mission to a Million Network was started. And with Mornings with Mac, we have different themes for the week. It is week 31. Week 31. Oh, wow. Week 31. That means we only got, how many weeks we got left? 20 would be. We only got 21 weeks left in the year. I always say what week we're in and how much time we have left in the year, because I want to remind the millionaires how much time you have left to actually do what you said you're going to do, because 2023 is going to be the year where we take action. We're not walking into 2024 with the same goals, the same energy, the same baggage. We don't need none of that. Speaking of baggage, United lost my bag for 3 days and 2 days, but I got it back. That's another story. Y'all see that in the vlog. But as I'm saying, you have to make sure that you are pursuing your goals. And oh no, I'm talking about week 31. So week 31, we have different themes of the week. And the theme for week 31 is being at the table. Being at the table. What do you mean by that, Mac? So what I mean by being at the table is that when you get to a certain position in your life, or when you get to a certain level of knowledge, or when you get to a certain kind of net worth or network, you will be at a couple tables that you didn't expect to be at. You will be in a position where the fight that you were putting in, all the heartache, all the long nights, all the sales pitches that you had to do, all the cold calls, everything's going to start coming to fruition, and your pieces are going to start hitting. You're going to start making motion, and then you're going to be in spaces and rooms that you were not before. You're not going to be the smartest person in the room. You're not going to be the wealthiest person in the room. You're not going to be the most charismatic person in the room. But you're in the room. You're at the table. And that's the most important thing, that you're being at the table. You're at the table. So I want to break down every day kind of different aspects of things that you should understand when you're at the table, because I feel like I've been brought to the table, and I've been at the table for some time now, and I've been able to I know how to move now. I know how to move. So we have different topics for the day. It is Monday. It's a brand new week, y'all. It's a whole new week. You got a new 7 days. Well, really 5, because it's Monday. Well, whatever day you start your week, you have time to do what you said that you're going to do. You're awake. You're alive. Let's take action. So with that being said, the topic for today, it is Monday, July 31st, 2023. And the topic for today is ready for the room. Ready for the room. What do you mean by that, Mac? And what do you mean by like ready for the room? How does that relate to being at the table? Like if I'm at the table, doesn't that mean I'm ready to be at the room? That's not necessarily true. You could be at the table because you're connected to someone who's at the table. You could be at the table because you faked your way there. And when you fake your way somewhere, somebody's going to eventually find out who you are and see that you don't really have something of value. When you're at the table, you have to bring some type of mutual benefit. You bring value. You aren't at the table for no reason. You don't make it to spaces and areas and environments of high net worth and high success and high drive. You don't make it there by no reason. There is a reason why you made it there. There is a reason why you are at the table, but you need to understand why you're there. And you have to share that with other people when you're at the table. Have a conversation, make a connection, build something. It's kind of crazy how fast you can know somebody can help you just by having a 2 to 5 minute conversation. Once you start sharing who you are, once you start actually identifying the skill sets that you have in conversation, you can do that, but you have to know how to do that. So you have to have like a elevator pitch. You have to have a long version of your elevator pitch, and you have to have a short version of your elevator pitch, because everybody don't have time. Everybody don't have 10 minutes to listen about your life. Everybody doesn't have that. But if you can condense it into like 45 to a minute and 30, explaining who you are and your value, when you're at the table, and you have those separate conversations with the different other people at the table, you can strongly show your value and your importance, and something can come from being at that table. You can be at that table, and then somebody at that table sees you, and you be like, yo, we gotta go build another table over here, because my folks over here need this table, and actually I pay you to build this table, and I'll give you equity, and we can do it. Like, things come to fruition when you're at the table. And just know that when you're at the table, you need to understand that you are not there for no reason. You were there for a purpose. You're there for a reason, and you need to share that reason. You need to be ready to be at the table. You need to be ready for the room, because if you're not ready for the room, why be at the table? You know what I'm saying? So yesterday, on Monday, the topic was ready for the room. Today is Tuesday. It is Tuesday, August 1st. It's a brand new month. Jeez, I gotta go plan out my month. It is August 1st, 2023, and the topic for today is be intentional. Be intentional. What do you mean by be intentional, Mac? And what are you talking about? Like, what does that have to do with being at the table? Like, aren't I intentional if I'm already at the table? Yes, to get to the table, you have to be intentional. But once you're at the table, you need to be more intentional. You need to have a goal. You need to have a plan. You need to have a vision. You need to have something that you're pursuing that maybe someone at the table can help you pursue. Or you need to have a skill set that you can help someone else at the table. So let me get back to being intentional. So if you know that you're going to go to a dinner that has potentially 5 millionaires there, you should have a couple questions set up. You should research those 5 people that are going to be there that you know are millionaires. You should come with something that you want to ask, some type of tip, some type of small life fact that you know about them, that when you're having a conversation, if you throw that in, they're like, oh, this kid did his research, or this person did their research. You want to make sure that you are intentional, because being at the table does not mean that you're going to stay at the table. I'm going to say that again. Being at the table does not mean you're going to stay at the table. So while you're at the table, you need to maximize your time there. You need to maximize the ROI that you get from being at the table. So with that being said, you need to know what you like to do, know what you want to do, know what you're good at. You need to have an elevator pitch. I mentioned this yesterday. You need to know what you're good at. You need to be able to speak to your accomplishments. You need to be intentional about all these things. And the accomplishments that you speak about, they need to be correlated or related to the person that you're talking to, because you have to build some type of relationship where they understand that you are a valuable person. You're not just at the table for no reason. You're intentionally at the table, and by you being at the table, you're being intentional by being there, and you're fully aware of it. And once people that are at the table understand this, they also appreciate that. They appreciate it, and they enjoy it. They enjoy it. Not gonna lie, when people come to my table, because I'm at a bunch of different tables, and I need to start building a mansion because I'm at so many different tables. But when someone's at a table that I've been in, and they come and they don't really have intent behind it, I try to say, like, hey, like, you should go talk to this person. Or, hey, like, do you know who's in the room? Like, be intentional. So a perfect example I could give you is that the podcast summit. So for the podcast summit, before I went, so something that was really dope is that they have an app for the podcast summit, and I actually had to look into that. It was really dope. You could have a chat room. You could watch the live streams live. It was fire. But there was a section where there was attendees. So I downloaded the app pretty early, and I made it a fact that I was going to add every single person that's going to be an attendee at this podcast summit. I did it every day for like a week and a half before we went. And I kind of dropped a little intro in the chat room, and I kind of just explained who I was, put my little spiel. I also ask a lot of questions, because when you ask questions, people know that you're paying attention. So when I would introduce myself and ask a question, people can make the correlation like, oh, wait, I read that name before, I heard that name before, or oh, wait, he added me as a friend. Okay, maybe we can make some connections. And I literally had people come up to me, and they were like, oh, you asked that question. I just realized that you also added me, because I was going to add you after that, and we were already added. So you have to be intentional, because you never know who's in the room. You never know what can come from you just being yourself. You being yourself. And that kind of ties into the theme for the day. So let's get to the topic of the day. We have different topics that we expand on every day that are related to the theme of the week. On Monday, the topic was be intentional. On Tuesday, the topic was Monday, the topic was ready for the room. Tuesday, the topic was be intentional. Today is Wednesday. It is August 2nd, 2023. It's a brand new month. We are, it's only 4 months left in the year. That's crazy. But yes, it is August 2nd, 2023. And the topic for today is provide value. Provide value. So what do I mean by that? What are you saying, Mac? Like, what are you talking about provide value? Like, if you got to the table, doesn't that mean you're valuable already? Yes. But what I'm trying to get you to understand, or what I want you to understand, is that being at the table is the first step. Getting in the room is the first step. Being in an area surrounded by millionaires, billionaires, thought leaders, people who are leading in your industry, people who are doing things that you want to do but you haven't got there yet. In order to be in those places, you have to provide some type of value. It's just the way the world works. I'm a firm believer in mutually beneficial relationships. So that means if I know you and you know me, I can provide something of value to you and you can provide something of value to me. And historically, the more value that you provide, the more value that someone else will provide to you. That's not always true, because sometimes people may just take. But you have to understand that when you are providing some value, you should get some value back. And you grow together. You form new tables. You get invited to different tables that you would not have gotten invited to unless somebody knew that you were actually valuable. You provided some insight. You are a leader in the thing that you do. No one knows what you do because no one's had your lived experiences. No one has gone to school for what you've gone to. No one has, and by school, I don't mean necessarily like an actual school. By school, you could have went through the school of life. You could have went through the school of experience. There are certain things that you can provide and that you need to know that you can provide once you get to these tables. And if you don't provide value, if you don't show your worth, if you don't make your seat at the table, when you're not at the table, people miss you being at the table. If you don't provide value, you're not going to stay at the table. Just getting there doesn't mean you're going to stay there. And by just getting to that table, if you want to get to a bigger table, or if you want to build another table from being at that table, you have to be able to provide value. And I know what I'm saying kind of sounds repetitive, but I need you to understand and I need you to get it, that you have to provide value, because it's going to lead to greater. It's going to lead to bitter. It's going to lead to better. You just have to make sure that whatever you do, you provide some type of value and the relationship is mutually beneficial. And that's some gems for the day. We'll be back tomorrow, So on Monday, the topic was ready for the room. On Tuesday, the topic was be intentional. On Wednesday, the topic was provide value. It is Thursday, August 3rd, 2023. And the topic for today is speak peculiar. Speak peculiar. What do you mean by that, Mac? What do you mean by speak peculiar? Like, what are you talking about? So what I mean is, I kind of talked about it before when I was talking about providing value and being intentional. When you're in these specific rooms or when you're at these specific tables, there's a certain language that's spoken that if you haven't been there for a while, you may not understand it. There may be certain experiences that the people at these tables have that they may communicate about that you may not be aware about, but you do have to have an understanding. So I'll give you an example. I don't really play golf, but golf is like, it's the business sport. Business deals get done on the golf course. So if I'm at the seat at the table and I'm talking to some CEOs, some vice presidents, or some executives, and they start they sway over, the conversation goes to golf for some reason. And if I don't know how golf operates, how golf, the rules of golf, what a birdie looks like, what an eagle is, if I don't know these things, the conversation that's being had, I can get lost a little bit. So what I mean by that is you have to speak peculiar. You have to know the environment that you're walking into. You have to know the things that they like. You have to know the things that they talk about. You have to know the things that that happens in their realm, because it might be different from your realm, but you have to be able to operate in that situation or in that space so you can take that information, you can take that value, and you can bring that back to your spaces. So what I really mean is you have to learn the language of the people at the table. If you're at a table and this table just happens to be some executives of sports teams, you have to know how to talk sports. If you're at a table and this table is a bunch of CEOs and executives at companies, you have to know how to speak that language. If you're at a table and this table is filled with people who are community leaders, they're actively doing things for their people, you have to know how to speak to them, because there's different languages that you have to speak in all of these situations and areas. And by languages, I'm not just talking about verbal language. Like there's mannerisms that you have to have. There's certain hand gestures that you have. Like when you shake somebody's hand, it has to be firm. If you dap somebody up, you gotta make sure you really pull that in. You know what I'm saying? There's certain things that you have to understand and know, that when you get into certain spaces or certain areas, you have to move a certain way, because if you don't move a certain way, you're gonna make it hot for yourself. People gonna be like, why is this person in here? Why are you at this table if you don't know this language? Like we don't even speak the same language and you at my table. So once you understand that it's kind of bigger than you, it's more than what you're actually doing, and once you see how people move, you can kind of see how they act, because it's synonymous. If they move a certain way, they're probably gonna act a certain way. That's just me being me, and that's people being people. If you move a certain way, you're probably going to act in a way that's synonymous with the way that you were moving. So just make sure that you understand that in certain rooms, people speak peculiar languages, and you have to understand that language. And if you don't, you may be lost, and that's okay. But you have to learn their language. You have to learn it, and also know that everybody moves with intent. Everybody has an ulterior motive. There's a mutual beneficial relationship with every single situation that somebody puts themselves in. So make sure that you're speaking peculiar. So with that being said, we have different themes or topics for the day. On Monday, the topic was ready for the room. On Tuesday, the topic was be intentional. On Wednesday, the topic was provide value. On Thursday, the topic was speak peculiar. It is Friday, August 4th, 2023. Week 31 is coming to an end. And the topic for today is build another table. Build another table. What do you mean by that, Mac? Like, why would I build another table if I just got invited to a table and I'm in a room now and I can be around all these people? The point of being at the table, especially as a person of color, who has a substantial amount of opportunities and wealth, and you're a business owner. To give you an example, in New Jersey, there are only, I think it's 0.38% of black-owned businesses that have employees. Yes, I said that correct. 0.38%. So if you, I'm speaking specifically about someone like me. If you are a person of color and you own a business, or you do something where you offer a service, and somebody exchanges it for money, or you offer a product and somebody exchanges it for money, you have a responsibility to show other people how to do that. There are less than 1% of black-owned businesses in New Jersey that help other people pay their bills. So that means there are only I keep saying it because I want you to notice. There are 0.38% of black-owned businesses that have employees in New Jersey. So what I mean by build another table is that sometimes, I know everybody isn't a business owner, or doesn't have that business owner mentality, but they have to understand that ownership is important. They have to understand that providing a service or providing a product is important. They have to understand that they can monetize their knowledge. They have to understand that you can create something, and that something that you create can change the world. You have to, and I'm really speaking to the individuals who are starting to enter those rooms and they're not feeling comfortable, or they get into those rooms and they realize like, oh, this is what y'all was talking about at this table, or this is what y'all been doing here. Like, y'all could be doing so much more. Like, why? I need to go make my own table. Or you may go into a room, have a conversation with somebody, and you find some synergies, and they want to start a new business with you, or they want to start a nonprofit with you that focuses specifically on something like helping youth athletes progress with financial literacy, something like that. The things that can come to fruition from you being in a room, you have to maximize, you have to capitalize, and you have to make sure that you're trying to give access to other people coming behind you. You have to make sure that you are trying to make it easier for the next person who looks like you, who came from your background, who came from your neighborhood, who came from the school that you graduated from, who came from the street that you were born on as well. Like, you have to make sure as a human being, you are trying to make it easier for the human beings that come after you. That's what life should be. That's how life should progress. And honestly, if we all thought like that, life may be a little better. If we all were trying to make the path easier for the next person coming behind us by building another table, by creating another opportunity from the opportunities that we have, by just think of how many tables are in a mansion. Think about that. How many tables are in a house? A large house. Your house of wealth needs to have a lot of tables. You should have a table where you eat at with your friends. You should have a table where you eat at with coworkers. You should have a table where you eat at with people who are interested in sports or the other hobbies that you're interested in. You should have a table. You should have mad different tables in your house and have them all serve different purposes, and invite other people to those tables, and have those people invite other people to those tables, so the tables can get bigger and you can have a larger meal and you can feed everybody who needs to eat. All right, I'm rambling a little bit, but I needed to get that out. But all right, millionaires, if you did not know, my name is Mac3. I am on a mission to $1 million mind, body, and bank account. And on that mission to $1 million, I want to provide perspectives, knowledge, and resources. I hope for you, I hope you get to see something happen that makes you just value your time, your day. See something that makes you value life. Like, maybe it'll be like a rose growing out of a random bush. Maybe it'll be a homeless person smiling at you. Maybe it'll be something that you didn't expect. But I want you to have an experience today that makes you appreciate and value life. And if it doesn't happen today, I hope it happens this weekend. And if it doesn't happen this weekend, you weren't looking hard enough. So really take the time to look at your surroundings, look at things that's going on around you, and find something to appreciate. All right, millionaires, keep chasing those millions. I'll talk to you next week.